Hello everybody, I'm Elijah. I wanted to make this video centered around the elements. I'm sure all of you heard of fire, water, earth, and air. These elements that make up all of creation and are embedded within our very consciousness. You know that these elements are physical manifestations. You go around in the world, you see fire, water, earth, and air. I'm going to explain in this video what these elements mean for human evolution and how we can tap ourselves into our highest potential. So stay tuned. Thank you for being here. Alright everybody, this teaching here is probably one of the most important things for all of us to understand. Now, I'm not going to claim that I have some sort of superior knowledge that only I have that I'm trying to give to you. This is the center of all of our ancestral knowledge. This isn't mine, this is not yours. This has been around way before us, and we've aligned ourselves to this very basic teaching. And I wanted to give my own spin on it through just the natural way that I go about explaining things. And I wanted to apply this knowledge and how it pertains to human evolution, where we are right now and where are we going. And all of this stems from our very beginnings. So stay with me as this knowledge, you will feel it within you. You know that this knowledge is inherent within us all. So I'm going to explain it in this way. I have all these drawings here behind me. So, in order to understand these elements, it's important to understand where they came from. Okay? Now, I know a lot of people don't like to use the word God, and that's fine. I understand. I understand why one can have that visceral reaction when you hear that word, because how it's been so twisted and manipulated throughout human history. So if you don't like the word God, use another word. Call it source. The creator, the father of all, the all-father. Or, if it suits you better, use the phrase underlying intelligence within nature. That's the same thing, okay? You know, everybody has a certain perception of God, and I know it's that one thing that we all hold sacred, and it's hard to bring yourself out of that and accept new information that, you know, might not totally jive with this sort of concept you had your whole life. So use the underlying intelligence within nature. For this demonstration, I'm going to use the word source, because that divine spark is the source of all. Whether the Big Bang is a thing or not, it doesn't matter, because there's a spark behind it. Alright? So at the very top here, I've written down source. This is the source of everything in the universe. Alright? At the very beginning of creation, one might look at the Creator as saying to itself, I want to experience myself. And the way to do that is to break myself up into many components, give them free will, and allow them to create a universe where I can experience myself. So what Source did was create different spirits that are all qualities of it. Don't think of Source, God, as he or she. The proper way to look at it is by calling it it. We can't just put ourselves in the position of the all. There is no separation from Source. Source is everything. It's not just masculine, feminine. It is everything. And the great spirits would refer to the Creator as it. So what happened? The Creator decided, I'm going to create music as a way to splinter myself into this thing called creation and allow, through free will, these splinters, these fragments, to experience themselves and grow and evolve and tune themselves into this music. So the Creator, Source, created what you call great spirits, who are all aspects of it. Now, these are all in all mythologies around the world. They talk about these beings, the gods. All of these different mythologies, Norse mythology, various Native American mythologies, African mythologies, all around the world, biblical mythologies, they talk about the same beings, just with different names. What Source did was create a whole bunch of great spirits. They all correspond to different aspects of the universe, but there are certain great spirits who are especially involved in creation, in how we navigate this physical universe to have our various experiences. So he created a great spirit of air, a great spirit of water, a great spirit of fire, and a great spirit of earth. These are the inherent elements that make up the physical universe. But what these great spirits are and how they give us this means to explore our reality is they are embedded within our consciousness. It's not just our physical reality. How we explore our physical reality is using our physical senses as well as our other senses that are tuned into the etheric aspects of the universe. It's all within our consciousness. So while we're navigating our physical world, we feel wind. We see and experience water. We drink water. It's necessary for life. Fire is a destructive force. Don't look at it necessarily as purely destruction, because out of that destruction is how we create things. In order to create a hammer, a metal hammer, which is a tool that we use to build things and create our world, you need to take certain metals out of the ground, and through metallurgy practices, you melt it down and you hone those components into a hammer. That is through the process of fire. So it deconstructs metal and other things that we take out of the ground, and we use our abilities to reconstruct it into something that is useful. So the great spirit that corresponds to fire is a friend, not evil. I know fire is associated with the dark one, the devil, you might say, right? But no, the great spirit of fire is a friend. All of the aspects of our physical world that we take out of the ground and use our creativity to build things, that is him. Now, all of these elements work in tangent with one another. We also have the great spirit of Earth. This is Mother Earth. I know I'm going to make another video specifically about Mother Earth because I know that sometimes it's hard for people to totally visualize what and who Mother Earth is. It's not just our planet. We call our planet Earth. But the element of Earth is beyond our planet. Her influence within the sphere of creation is organic life. She creates life throughout all the universe, not just our planet. She is the source of the divine feminine. She is the divine mother, and her element is earth, organic life, beyond just our planet. The divine mother. All these great spirits are with Source, but they're also outside of Source. Okay? There's creation, this bubble, the physical universe and the etheric components with it, but outside of creation are these great spirits. They're both outside and within, just like us as souls, the splinters of Source, working through Mother. We're birthed through Mother. We're both with Source and we're in the creation bubble experiencing things at the same time, right? So Mother, the Divine Mother, sits with Source. And she gives birth through the spark of Source to all of us, so we can experience life and we can learn our lessons and grow and evolve. So, Earth. Water, fire, earth, and air. These great spirits are especially important to know. There are many other great spirits that don't necessarily correspond to the elements, but right now I wanted to focus on just these four. Okay? All four of these elements are aspects of our consciousness, with spirit on top. Spirit is above everything. We are nothing without spirit. Spirit has to be on top. We are all spiritual beings. All of us are a spark of the Creator, birthed through Mother. And we all have these qualities within us. We don't just see them as manifestations in the physical world. They are aspects of our consciousness. All of the universe is energy. It transforms itself. We have the power with our minds to work with these elements and to hone our magic in creating the world that we want to see. Magic is simply the manipulation of energy. Alright? Separate the word magic from all the hocus pocus, from stage show magic. That's not the magic I'm talking about. We are all magicians in that we can manipulate energy using these elements. We are all magicians, whether we know it or not, whether we like it or not. We are magicians. We work with energy using our mind, using our thoughts, emotions, and actions to create a world that we want to see. And that is working through these elements. You don't need a magical ritual. You don't necessarily even need to read all of the books about occult practices of using magical circles and rituals. These rituals are simply a way to focus your mind, often in conjunction with others, so you can visualize an outcome that you want that simply focuses and amplifies your energy. But magic doesn't need to be that complex. We use magic every day. When you go walking outside and you come across a stranger and you give them a smile, and they smile back to you, that might positively influence their day. They might feel good about that. Somebody smiled at them. And then when they go about their day, they might smile to others, therefore using energy to influence others. That is a form of magic. Okay, and that brings me to my next point. Black magic. Where does the darkness of creation come from? Well, Source, in order to better understand itself, created a mirror image of itself that contains all these elements. So the Great Spirit, there's a Great Spirit that corresponds to all of these elements, but there's another Great Spirit that has a little bit of each of these elements. This Great Spirit, this being, is the very one who at the beginning of creation revolted against the Creator and creation. He got angry. He introduced the emotion of anger and hate into creation. He is who you might call the devil. And if you don't want to believe that this sort of being exists, then you've been got. Because I assure you, he is real. And he messes with all of us. So what he did is, along with the other great spirits, they took part in a song at the very beginning of creation. Music. This is the song. Through frequencies, they created the physical universe, and they brought each of their elements to it, including the Dark One. I'm going to call him the Dark One, because I know people can cringe when they hear the word devil, right? I'm just going to use the Dark One. So his aspect and all of his hate and rage became fused with the physical universe. That's why you see death and destruction. You see chaos. Alright? You see within nature, you see animals preying upon one another. Parasitism. Mosquitoes. They all come from him. His aspect of who he is also entwined with creation. So you have dark and you have light. These opposing forces that seemingly work against one another, that gives us a reality where we have to constantly search for the light. We have to constantly better ourselves against all these antagonistic forces. Alright? Now the circle is a symbol of creation. The infinite nature of creation. That is where the circle comes from. Alright? It's constantly renewing itself, rebirthing itself. It's never ending, essentially. Alright? So all of these elements work together within the cycle of creation. Now the Dark One, this is the pentagram. This symbol is known as the pentagram. It is not a satanic symbol. It's not an evil, dark symbol. This is a positive symbol. This, you've surely seen the image, and I'll put it on the screen, of the Vitruvian Man that Leonardo da Vinci developed in his work with the human with inside of the circle. That corresponds to this. This is every single one of us. We're made up of all of these elements. Alright? Now, seeing how there is a dark aspect of creation, what those who align themselves with darkness, they are angry at the universe. They're angry. They feel like they don't have the ability to create everything you want, because there are natural laws. There are consequences to your behavior. And they're angry about that. So what they do is they take this sacred symbol and they flip it upside down. I also put an image of that on the screen right now, where spirit is on the bottom. Because from somebody who has that more dark orientation towards them, who are essentially raging against the universe, they believe the ego should be above spirit. Everything to them is ego. I want to do things my way. I don't care about anybody else. I put myself above everybody else. So that is where the darkness comes from. It's taking those elements. Remember, the Dark One has elements of every other great spirit within him. He's very powerful. Alright? And it turns it upside down. Now, what do these elements mean in regards to our consciousness? We all have these aspects within us. Let's start out with water. Okay, first of all, before I get started, look at these symbols. Alright? You have two triangles which are facing up with the point up. Fire and air. Those symbols are used because they represent the masculine components of creation. They're masculine elements by nature. That's why the symbol is used, because that's supposed to represent a somewhat phallic symbol. Now, the other two elements are a triangle that is pointing down. That is because these symbols are used to represent a chalice, and that is feminine energy, a cup. Alright? So, water and earth are considered feminine elements. Air and fire are considered masculine elements. Every one of us has both masculine and feminine components to us. That doesn't change our gender, okay? You have two genders, I'm sorry, men and women. Now, if you have a preference, however you want to live your life is up to you. And I'll never look down on you about that, but there are two genders. Masculine and feminine. Or I should say man and woman. Alright? And some people won't like that, and I don't really care. I have such amount of love for you. However you want to live your life is up to you. And whatever you want to call yourself, but there are two genders. Alright? So the elements of air and earth, as you might be able to see here, have a line drew through them. That is to differentiate, the other symbol. So the element of water doesn't have that line through it, and fire doesn't have that line through it. So that explains those symbols here. And again, spirit is the symbol for it is a circle. Eternity. Constant renewal and rebirth, the infinite nature of the universe. Okay? So, the great spirit of water. There is an underlying spirit behind water. Water is considered a feminine element. That particular great spirit isn't female. He is a male spirit. But the element of water is still considered feminine. The element of water, besides just the physical manifestation that we see in our world, the element of water inside of our mind corresponds to our emotions, intuition, creativity. That is water, and try to visualize that. Water is fluid, just like an emotion. You can consider a good visual example of understanding water and how our emotions work is you are a ship out at sea. Sometimes the water is very tumultuous. Sometimes it's very calm. That is our emotions within our consciousness. Alright? Fire not only do you see fire as a physical manifestation within within our physical reality, it's also within our consciousness. Fire corresponds to passion, corresponds to action and willpower and courage. We all have that quality within us. It's that spark within us that gets us passionate about something, right? And we take that passion to create things in the world. Just like I used that example, we take iron ore out of the ground, and through metallurgy practices, we transform it into a tool that we use to create our world, right? Now, air. Air is considered a masculine element as well. Air, it refers to the intellect, to logic and reason. That is an aspect of our consciousness. Think of it like you have the sky, you have air all around us. All right? Now, in order for us to reach for higher thinking through philosophy, is by elevating our thoughts above the animal kingdom. All right? That is our intellect. And lastly, earth. Earth, of course, is a feminine symbol. This is the symbol of Mother Earth, not just our planet. This element is within all of creation. She gives birth to all organic life. We are all her children. Earth, her element in regards to our consciousness, not just our physical reality of what we see and experience, but our consciousness refers to the inherent qualities and characteristics and talents and resources that we as individuals have. We're all born with a unique personality. We have different preferences. We have different talents. We have different qualities. All of us are different, and that's a beautiful thing. All of us as children of Mother Earth, as brothers and sisters, we all have a quality of Mother within us, and all of our personalities together form Mother. We're all aspects of Mother, and our personalities are meant to weave together to lend our inherent characteristics and talents into the world so we can live more harmoniously with one another. There's a reason that we are all different, and that's something to be celebrated. So all of these great spirits, they aren't just symbols and metaphors within mythologies. They are real beings. They have personalities. You know, they have wants and desires. They want us to be happy. They find great joy in watching us experience life, to learn and grow. They enjoy that. They want us to be happy and healthy. They want us to evolve towards source. They want us to evolve to higher consciousness so we can better appreciate this beautiful universe that we have. All right? So every one of us has these qualities. Now, going back to the Dark One, I told you this particular great spirit has elements of all the other great spirits within him. This makes him especially powerful. All right, and he's become the antagonist of creation. He's locked away in a dimension, so he doesn't have an influence on us the way these other great spirits do. I might get into details about that, but he's in a whole realm of his own right now. But even his thoughts, his will, reaches us through our consciousness, and we can't escape that. The Dark One is an aspect of us as well. Alright? And he's the one who sits in his realm, and he's trying everything that he can to derail our spiritual evolution. That thought inside of your head that says, I'm useless, I'm worthless, nobody loves me, everybody hates me, I have no value to this world, I might as well give up and fall into despair. That's him. Those are him working through all of us. Doesn't matter how spiritual you are, that voice will always be there. And it's just a matter of not listening to it and using your power with all of these elements to realize your full power and potential. And to tell that voice, I'm not listening to you. Alright? I'm a divine being and I have the right to be here. I acknowledge that you're there, O Dark One, but you will not influence me. Alright? Now, understanding that, I want to move your attention to this part of the board right here. Alright? So you have black, white, red, and yellow. These are the 4 colors of humanity. Alright? Black, white, red, and yellow. Black being of African origin, white being of European descent, Anglo-Saxon you might call it, red being American Indian, Native Americans of both North America and South America, and yellow are Asian brothers and sisters. Now you might also understand there are other variations of colors. You know, brown. How do people who have brown skin correspond to this? You might look of that as being a combination of these colors. You know, middle people who are from the Middle East or India. You might say that those groups of people at some point throughout human history might have been a mix of these colors to produce that sort of color of skin. Okay, so I don't want to exclude anybody. If you have brown skin, know that you're a combination of these colors. And you might go into you might say, hey Elijah, that what you just said doesn't correspond to human history. Well, they don't know everything, alright? They're not telling us the full truth about where we came from. And I'm going to share with you what I know in that regards. And I know that you know too. Alright? This is knowledge that we all have access to, and you know it within yourself. Okay? And we all kind of look at it differently, which is fine. Okay? Now, there was a time in the last world before the Great Flood and all that, and bringing us to this world. We lived in a time on planet Earth, and this was the time of Atlantis, Lemuria, Mu. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you've heard of this, right? Okay, for hundreds of thousands of years, we lived as a civilization where we had more advanced technology. Our spiritual abilities were heightened more than they are now. I'm going to go into this in greater detail. And then at one point we made a deal that got us into a lot of trouble. And then the flood happened. Alright? At one point, these colors didn't necessarily exist the way that they do now. We were all very similar. Of course there are variations, but as a whole, we weren't splintered the way that we are now. Now, about 13,000 years ago, when the flood happened, the collapse of our Atlantis civilization, we made a deal that we shouldn't. We messed up. And when we are brought back, into this new world and allowed to create again, we were splintered into black, white, red, and yellow over the course of many years. All right? Once we were whole. And then we became splintered. All of us have these elements within us. All right? But at one point, we as a collective were splintered. Our consciousness was splintered as divine beings. And we were spread out all across the world. We were splintered. Alright? And the elements became splintered as well. Now, I want to explain how each of the four colors of humanity, each were given an element that corresponds to them as a group of people. Alright? So, if you are of African origin, you have black skin, you correspond to the element of water. You still have all these elements within you, as we all do, but water especially is your thing. And I want to be careful about how I say this, okay? There's no racism here. We're all one people. We're all human beings. But this is something to be celebrated. So don't skew my words with what I'm about to say. Alright? Now, how does the element of water correspond to black people? Well, you'll know that people of African origin have a way of being in tune with their body than any other color of human being. Black people are especially good at tapping into the rhythm of music. Nobody could dance quite like somebody who has African origin. Like, you just have a way of feeling the music within your heart and soul. You have a way of using your body to tap into this music, and that is beautiful. Alright? That's because people of African origin have the element of water especially ingrained within them. You have a way of tapping into emotions, feeling music, and you bring something very important to the human race as a collective. Alright? You have the great spirit of water working through you in ways that the rest of us just can't. Not as well. I'm not saying that other colors of people don't have a way of tapping into that music also. All I'm saying is that the element of water is especially ingrained within you, and that is beautiful. Alright, that brings me to the next one. White-skinned people, Anglo-Saxon, European origins. They correspond to the element of fire. Alright? Now, how I want to explain this is throughout history, okay, we all know that white civilization have been the ones who have been at the forefront of creating a technological society, building things in very sophisticated ways. And unfortunately, white people have been the ones throughout human history to engage in terrible acts, to put down the other colors of our brothers and sisters, okay? We all know that white civilization has been the one who has wreaked havoc all over the world. All right? We know that. That's because they correspond to the element of fire. They have that passion within them to look at the world and realize, how can we create things in a sophisticated way through metallurgy practices, through other forms of creating things and developing things. Now, white people especially have been the ones who have listened to that dark voice inside of their heads. Because again, the dark one has all these elements within him. He has a little bit of all the great spirits. He's especially taking a fancy to the great spirit who corresponds to fire. He's known that he can learn from that particular great spirit to create things that he wants that are destructive. Okay? So, more than any other color of people, the dark one has worked through people of white skin. And as somebody who has white skin, I'm not afraid to admit that. Okay? But I am not them. If you have white skin and you're watching this video, you are not in alignment with the rest of our white brothers and sisters who are creating this horrendous world. Alright? So there are some white people who genuinely are in more alignment with spirit. Alright? So white people, white-skinned people have been at the forefront of creating a world through very advanced techniques. Okay? That goes, let's go to the next one. Red-skinned people are what you would refer to as people who originate from the Americas, North America and South America. Native Americans, American Indians. They correspond to the element of earth, naturally. Alright? That should be pretty easy to see. They are blessed with having a relationship with Mother that is just, it's greater than most of the other colors, right? They have been the ones who were brought into this world with a very strong connection with Mother Earth. And that is embedded in all of their teachings, their philosophies, their spiritual traditions. All of them have at the heart of their philosophy and spiritual traditions Mother Earth. Alright? They have a way to tune into Mother and see how all life is interconnected and that we are connected to Mother. Every single one of us. And they have those qualities amplified. And that goes to the final color, yellow. Asian people, people who originate from Asia, correspond to the element of air. Again, air being intellect. And you can see this within Asian cultures. And this is not meant to sound like I'm trying to fall into the stereotypes. I'm not. Alright? I'm not. But you cannot deny that embedded within most Asian cultures, it seems as if they have the extraordinary ability to reach higher heights of thinking. Alright? Why so many people who originate from Asia are very mathematically inclined. They have a way to understand mathematics easier, I would say, than most other people. That's just the way that their minds work. It's a gift. It's a beautiful gift. And I think the center of Asian culture that embodies the element of air is their indigenous population. Let's look at the people of Tibet, where Buddhism, their form of Buddhism, is it's just so in tune and in alignment with spirit. People of Tibet have a way of looking at meditation, practicing meditation to elevate one's thoughts to a place that is much higher, where they can tune into spirit. All right? Black, white, red, and yellow. All aspects of the human race. We were splintered into these colors, with each particular color having an inherent quality, a gift. It is our destiny as human beings to once again become whole. Now, what do I mean by whole? I want to emphasize that every single one of us have those elements within us. We are whole right now as an individual. We have all these elements within our consciousness. All right? There's nothing lacking about us. It's just each color has a particular element that is particularly amplified. But again, we're all different beings. We all have different personalities. We have a different genetic makeup, a different spiritual makeup. Some people might have qualities that are a little bit stronger. But as a whole, these four colors are splinters of what we are to become. It is our destiny going to this next world. And this corresponds well with Hopi prophecy. It is our destiny when we go to this next world. We are going to naturally want to merge together. This isn't anybody controlling us or dictating things. We're going to have that natural inclination to merge all of our colors once again into one. This splintering is going to become one, and we're going to be very spiritual beings who are in alignment with Source. Once again, all right, the last 13,000 years have been us being splintered and being taken advantage of through this splintering. But it is our destiny to become whole once again. We're going to work on having one new language. You know, we're going to have a very balanced spiritual philosophy that takes every mythology that we have and weaves them together in a tapestry. Don't mistake what I'm saying with this Illuminati bullshit. You know, the one world, one government, no, that's not what I'm talking about. Don't twist my words. Okay? But it is okay to realize that it's perhaps not a bad idea for us one day to have a shared language. It's okay for us to have different personalities, the way we choose to worship the universe, to look at spirituality. That's all okay, and that's bound to happen. There's nothing wrong with that. But as a whole, we will have access to the truth. This is our destiny to become whole once again. And that goes to the next part here. You've heard of the chakras, right? Red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet. These are all aspects of us. We are part of the song, the one song of creation. All right, we're all little splintered fragments of the Creator birthed through Mother Earth. But we all have a unique musical note We tune ourselves to a certain frequency. That's what gives us our unique personality. But we all are a part of this song. We all have the capability of tuning ourselves to this music, these frequencies. And that comes through meditation. I will get to a video on that. But each of us have these spinning wheels of energy within us. You know, it doesn't matter how knowledgeable you are on music theory. But I think all of us know that there are 7 main notes. Objectively speaking, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And you have all the sharps and the flats that go between each note. This is what harmony is based off of. Alright? And you all know, I'm sure you've heard, you know about Kundalini energy, these serpent energies. There's a masculine energy and a feminine energy that starts at the base of our spines. And when you meditate long enough and you balance these energy centers within your body, your etheric body, and that comes with practices in the physical reality, with your physical body as well. Alright, these energies circulate all throughout these spinning wheels of energy, all the way to the top, the crown chakra. When you have them in balance, with green being the center, that is your heart chakra. Green is your heart chakra. That is where Mother Earth, that's where she resides, our heart. Okay? That is the source of the divine feminine. When you have your heart in balance, the 3 chakras above and the 3 chakras below will naturally want to form a balance as well. And when you're able to get this energy circulating, you will be able to open your consciousness up to source. And this is where we receive divine inspiration, empowerment. This is where we as a collective and individuals get our ideas to create our reality, because we have free will. When you open yourself up through various practices, you'll start to feel those thoughts come into you. That divine inspiration. And that is all of the great spirits who are able to enter your consciousness because you have the energy flowing in a balanced way. That's all these great spirits giving you positive, inspiring thoughts. And also, it allows you to receive healing and creative energies. Alright? Any point you're feeling low energetically, depressed, if you can muster up the will and energy to open up your consciousness, which isn't always hard, you can receive healing energy. So once again, you can be picked up, and you can work on having the energy to deal with those negative thoughts, because again, that's the dark one trying to keep you down. Trying to keep all of us down. Alright? So this is an important thing for every person to understand. The 4 colors of humanity. 4. That's an important number. Alright? It is our destiny to become whole once again as a human race. All of us have the capability right now to be whole. We're all whole. We're not flawed in any way. But as a collective, the human race, it's our destiny to merge these elements together as we continue our evolution into the next world. So, that's all I'm going to say about that. I'm sure this video is long. I tend to ramble. I'm sorry. Blah, 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 blah. But, you know this already. Okay, I'm just presenting this my own way. I'm not a guru. I'm not trying to say I have special knowledge. This is available to all of us. And I hope that I'm bringing something helpful to you. We're all different, and that is something to be celebrated. All right? Every one of us matters. So I'm going to leave it at that. So I love you all very much. I thank you for being here. Do not give in to fear. You are a powerful, beautiful being. All of us are a child of Mother. All right? And our Native American, American Indian brothers and sisters are going to be the ones who lead us all into the next world. So don't forget about Mother. Feel her in your heart, the divine feminine. She's here for all of us. She loves you. She loves me. She is so forgiving for what we have all done to her, not just through her physical manifestation as a planet, but to her as a being, energetically, what we've done to her. Through all of that destruction we've done, she still loves us and cares about us. So don't forget about Mother. I thank you all for being here. This is Elijah. You are awesome. I'll see you in the next video.